most people that are lactose intolerant are actually just sensitive to this A1 protein. A lot of people that think they're lactose intolerant, they do fine with goat's milk, sheep's milk, or other types of milk because it's A2 protein. But those other types of milk, they still contain lactose.
Yeah.
So why are people digesting that fine, but they can't do cow's milk?
Yep.
My answer to that question is I think it's because of the A1 protein. Welcome to episode 4 of the Clean Kitchen Podcast. I'm Kyle.
And I'm Kevin.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, go ahead and leave us a review. Let us know if you're enjoying this podcast. But today, Kevin, tell the people what we're going to be talking about today.
Milk. A huge topic. I'm excited for this one.
Loaded topic.
We're going to start with dairy milk, and that in itself is a huge topic. So we'll break that down into conventional versus organic versus grass-fed. Then we'll go into the fat-free versus whole milk. What's the difference there? Which one's better for you? What do those even mean? We'll even talk about the temperature at which some of these milks are pasteurized, which can get a little bit complex. So we'll walk you through that. And then, of course, A1 versus A2. Some of that might be new information for you. So we'll tell you what that means. We'll even talk about some raw milk. What is that?
Yeah.
That's not very common. So we'll talk about that. And then, of course, hot on the streets is plant-based milk. Soy, almond, oat. What do those actually mean? What's in those? What are the ingredients in those different types of milk? So we'll break that down. And then, of course, that's a ton of information. So we'll do a comparison for you, telling you which one is healthier between those dairies and plant-based milk.
Yes.
And, of course, we're going to have some fun.
Yeah.
So we've got some trivia at the end for you.
I love it.
We're always going to have fun here.
Always have fun at the end of the podcast.
Absolutely.
And
then,
throughout the podcast.
Yeah, of course. And then we'll do some takeaways with kind of some red flags, what to avoid in the grocery store, what ingredients are a definite no-go, and then we're going to rank some of the top milks for you at the end.
Perfect.
So that's a lot. So we're going to jump right in. We're going to start with dairy milk. Specifically, we're going to talk about conventional, organic, and grass-fed. Let's start with just conventional dairy milk.
Yep. So that's really the first thing someone sees when they go to the milk section. They're going to see 3 options. They're going to see conventional, which is basically, you go to any store and you just see the gallon jug. It doesn't have a label on it or anything. It just says whole milk, fat-free milk, skim milk, whatever it is. That's your conventional milk. And then you have organic, obviously, certified organic, says organic on it. And then you also see grass-fed or 100% grass-fed. And we'll get into specifically the grass-fed label and how it's not really regulated that much. So really at its core, there's one thing that differentiates these 3 types of milk, and it's what the cow is feeding on. So conventional milk, they are going to be feeding on GMO grains like corn, soy, oats, barley, that sort of thing. And when I say GMO, that means they're genetically modified and most likely sprayed with pesticides and herbicides. So that's what the conventional cows are eating. Organic, they're eating certified organic feed. So it can be those same things. It can be those grains, corn and soy, but it's going to be certified organic. So it's not going to be sprayed with any of these synthetic pesticides or herbicides. And then grass-fed milk, 100% grass-fed milk, just as it sounds. It's 100% grass-fed. They're not eating any of these grains.
Okay. So that's helpful just to know what the 3 are, because I think that in itself is overwhelming.
Yes.
And that's a lot of what we'll talk about, is that there are so many choices if you go look at milks. So that helps set this up. But why does it matter what the cow is eating? How does that impact the milk?
It impacts the nutritional profile of the milk. So a cow's natural diet is grass. It's not grains. Why do they feed them grains? In the making of beef, it's to fatten them up as quickly as possible and get a honestly better tasting cut of meat. And it's cheaper.
Yep.
A lot cheaper. So that's one of the main reasons that they're feeding cows grains. But also a lot of people don't know that even when it comes to conventional milk and organic milk where they are fed grains, the first 7 to 9 months of the cow's life is actually spent on a pasture eating grass. And then it's really those last 4 or 5 months where they go to a feedlot where they're going to be eating grains.
Yep.
And either they're going to slaughter them for beef or, get some milk from them.
So yeah, it's those last 4 to 5 months that they're, for efficiency, going to do what they need to get the cow ready. But you have to think about you a lot of times in this scenario. What the cow consumes, you indirectly consume, that pass through there. So of those three, which one are you looking for?
Ideally, I would say 100% grass-fed because, as I mentioned, that's a cow's natural diet. That's what they should be eating. It's better for them, and ultimately, it's better for us.
Yep.
So grass-fed, ideal. If you can't get grass-fed, I do recommend going for organic because, as I mentioned, those conventional cows, they're consuming these grains that are sprayed with pesticides and herbicides. That's going to get in their body, and that's eventually going to get in our body. So we want to avoid that at all costs. And also another note on conventional versus organic and grass-fed. Conventional cows, they are allowed to be given antibiotics to treat them, but any cow that is given antibiotics, that supply of milk is thrown out. So a lot of people think that conventional milk has antibiotics in it, but legally they should be disposing of that milk, or they shouldn't even be, I guess, milking the cow in the first place if it was given antibiotics.
Yeah.
So that's just another note. I know a lot of people are scared of antibiotics getting in their milk.
Okay.
And then another note on that, artificial hormones can also be given to conventionally raised milk, which that can get into the milk. But it is illegal for hormones to be given to cows that are organically raised. And also that hormone is banned in the European Union and Canada.
Oh, wow.
So
just in the U.S.
Yeah, just in the U.S.
Not good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same goes for a lot of ingredients found in the grocery store.
Yeah.
It's allowed in the U.S., but it's banned in many, many other countries.
Yeah, there's a consistent theme here.
Yeah, we're good at that.
Yep. Okay. And maybe even taking a step back too with this, why is it that people should have milk? Are there nutritional benefits at its core to milk?
Oh, for sure. I think there's a lot of bioavailable vitamins and minerals. And when I say bioavailable, I just mean easily absorbed into the body. So yes, I think there's a lot of benefits to consuming milk. Now, we're going to get into, the different ways that milk is processed, where I think that's when it can lead to problems. And we'll talk about the different sensitivities that people have to milk.
Yep.
But overall, I think milk is very nutritious.
Yeah. Okay, good. So that's a lot of information there about conventional versus organic versus grass-fed. Specific to grass-fed, though, I think there are a lot of other nutritional benefits that come from a cow naturally eating its own diet. So what are those benefits?
Yeah, so there's really two main benefits. I guess you could even say three. I'd say one, three main benefits to grass-fed milk, 100% grass-fed milk. And that reminds me, the term grass-fed isn't very well regulated, as I mentioned earlier. But there were a couple brands that got together and made a third party. They had this third party come in, and they basically test the milk, or maybe they do annual inspections or something to ensure that it is truly 100% grass-fed, and there's a label on the milk.
Basically getting a third party independent audit of the ingredients going into that milk.
Correct. So the certification is certified grass-fed organic dairy. That's a popular little label that you'll see on milk.
So you want to look out for that and choose the ones that have that certification.
Correct. Okay. Yes. So going back, there's really three main things I would say that why grass-fed milk is better than any other type of milk.
Okay.
And that would be one, I think it's just more, it has more of these vitamins and minerals in them just because the cow is eating grass instead of grains. But the two main things, it has more of the omega-3 fats, which we'll talk about full fat versus skim milk and why I recommend full fat milk, because it has these omega-3 fats, which we've talked about.
We have with oils.
Previous podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And it has less of the omega-6.
Yep.
So the more grains that cows eat, the more omega-6 it's going to have. And the more grass, the more omega-3s. So we want those good, healthy omega-3 fats.
Got it. And as a reminder, we want to limit omega-6.
Yes.
Omega-3 and 9, we like.
Yes.
6, limit.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's the main benefit to grass-fed milk. The other benefit is that it contains more of something called conjugated linoleic acid, or
never heard of that
CLA.
Okay.
Yeah. And actually, it has this on the if you buy a grass-fed milk, it'll have it on the front of the package. It says more omega-3s and more CLAs, and that's conjugated linoleic acid. And basically, it's a heart-healthy fatty acid that has actually been shown to help with weight loss.
Huh.
So,
Okay.
moral of the story there, it's a good thing.
Okay. So we want CLAs. Got
Yes.
it. And I mean, in addition to the benefits to the consumer of the milk, we're learning more about the benefits to the environment.
Yes.
Of grass-fed milk. I was doing a little bit of research on this because I thought it was interesting that the cows that are 100% grass-fed are naturally basically mowing the grass for the farmer. So it helps with that. You're not bringing in any sort of chemicals there that are helping to limit the amount of grass that's grown. So that's good. And their hooves are actually making dents in the ground.
Yeah, I've read about this.
Allow for water to kind of fill up and keep the grass healthy. So really interesting there that the cows themselves are playing a role in acting almost as a farmer would on the land that they're being grown on there. So really cool too that there's this environmental benefit as well as the benefit to the consumer.
Yeah. So benefit. So it's better. What you're saying is basically grass fed, better for the cow, better for the environment, better for us.
That's it.
That's a win-win-win.
Win-win-win. You don't get a lot of those. This is a good one.
Yes.
Okay. So that's the grass-fed. Let's move on because you talked a little bit about fat.
Yes.
And so a lot of people, we talked about it before, they hear fat, they think bad.
Yes.
But we talked about there are good fats and there are bad fats. So when it comes to milk, is milk a good fat or a bad fat?
Milk is a great fat. As I mentioned, it has those omega-3 fats. It also has saturated fat.
Okay. We talked about those.
Another thing a lot of people think bad, but the saturated fat in milk is great. So fat-free or skim milk, that has all of the fat removed. And what it's left with is just the milk sugar and the protein. And the milk sugar is the lactose. That's what the sugar in milk is.
Yep.
And we'll get into that in a minute. If you look at the ingredients of these fat-free or skim milks, a lot of the time they'll add in a synthetic form of vitamin D because that is removed when they filter out all of the fat.
Yep.
So that's another. There's bioavailable vitamins in the fat, and we're removing them because why? I'm not really exactly sure. We've just been told fat is bad.
Yeah, exactly. And then they're adding them back. Do you remember what milk we drank as kids?
Oh, skim milk.
100% skim milk. Always skim milk.
Yeah.
Have a glass of skim milk almost every night.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I had a bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios every morning with skim milk.
Yep. Exactly.
Every morning.
And we had no idea.
No.
No one knew. There
No.
wasn't a lot of this research out there.
Yeah, we thought fat was bad.
Yep.
Or I guess our parents did.
Yeah.
I didn't.
We were told fat
We
was
didn't know
good.
better.
Yeah. We were just lucky to have the milk there.
Yeah. So yeah, that is what we grew up with. But no, it turns out we want to go for the whole milk.
Yep.
So I think a lot of people are scared that fat has a lot of calories and just fat in general. But like we talked about in earlier episodes, it's more satiating fat. So it's actually going to fill you up. You have a glass of whole milk, that's going to be much more satiating than a glass of skim milk. The skim milk is most likely just going to spike your blood sugar and leave you feeling even more hungry afterwards.
Yep.
So always, I recommend going for whole milk. And there's been many studies that show that the intake of whole milk is not associated with weight gain. And I think that's what people are scared most about when consuming whole milk.
Yeah, you're just making the assumption, which I think is fair. We've kind of been taught that if you have a lot of fat, if you have a lot of whole milk, it's going to put on some weight for you.
Yes.
And I guess with these, we've basically done 2 different categories of 3 items. Is there a fat-free organic? Is there a skim organic? Can you pair these 2 together?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's basically options of all of these.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's grass-fed low fat too.
And what do you think about that kind of milk?
No, I mean, I guess it's good. I don't know the exact reason why someone would really ever want to go for low fat, to be honest. I'd say always go for whole milk.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're pairing these 2 together, you want grass-fed, you want whole.
Exactly.
Together.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the first 2 pieces of the puzzle, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Grass-fed, whole milk.
I like that.
Is
So we're
it-
basically building a puzzle of milk.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We're building the perfect milk.
Okay. I love this.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to move on then to the temperature.
Mm.
So I think this isn't something that people think too much about.
To the temperature at which they're processed.
At which they're processed.
Yes.
Exactly right. And doing some research on this, the one thing that stood out to me is you can see the same type of milk on the shelves in a normal grocery store aisle as you will in the refrigerated section. And the initial thought is, why isn't that milk refrigerated? I think it has to do with the temperature at which it's pasteurized that plays the role. So
Yes.
what does this even mean? Low temperature versus ultra pasteurized. Talk to me.
Yeah, so there's basically 3 different types of pasteurization. We have low temp pasteurization, which is not common, unfortunately. I wish it was more common. Pasteurized, which is the full term for something that's pasteurized is high temperature short term pasteurization.
Okay.
And then we have ultra pasteurized. So low temp pasteurized is slowly heated to 145 degrees for about 30 minutes. So it's heated to lower temperatures for a longer period of time.
Okay.
High temperature short term pasteurization is heated to a minimum of 161 degrees for at least 15 seconds. So a little bit higher, but for a shorter amount of time.
Okay.
And then we have ultra pasteurized, which is heated to 280 degrees Fahrenheit or even more for a minimum of 2 seconds. So really high temperatures for a very short time.
Okay.
And the main reason, I'll get back to short-term pasteurized, but the main reason that we ultra pasteurize things nowadays is to extend the shelf life. When we ultra pasteurized something, and not only does this go for milk, but it goes for other products as well, like juice, things like that. It can extend the shelf life to 6 to 9 months, which is a crazy amount of time.
Yeah. For milk? Yeah.
Yeah. And then also a note on this is kind of like you were talking about. If something's ultra pasteurized, it doesn't need to be refrigerated.
Yep.
So
That's the ones you're seeing on the grocery store aisle shelves,
Yes.
not in the fridges, obviously.
exactly.
Okay. And so those different categories. First of all, can I find that on the label
Yes.
on the milk? Okay.
Yes.
It says it.
It should say it right on the front.
Okay.
Mhm.
Whether or not, and then
You'll see, like I mentioned, you'll see the 2 common ones are it's either going to say pasteurized or ultra pasteurized.
okay.
Yeah.
And so, what are we looking for? What do we want out of ours?
Ideally, I'd say raw. We're going to get into raw milk,
Okay.
the raw milk debate in a minute here. But
Okay.
in terms of what most people have available at their grocery stores, I recommend going for low temperature pasteurized. Now, this unfortunately is not very common. It is becoming more common, which I like to see. But low temperature pasteurized, it destroys a lot of the unwanted pathogens, but it keeps a lot of the beneficial bacteria and enzymes and different things that our bodies need that is destroyed when it's pasteurized or ultra pasteurized.
Okay.
Plus, in my opinion, it just tastes better.
Yeah.
Has more taste. So while the low temperature pasteurized heating does kill some of the beneficial enzymes, it keeps a lot of them, but it does kill some of them. It doesn't damage the proteins in the milk and leaves intact, like I said, some of the good bacteria.
Okay. So as those, if we're going back to the beginning, the cows are eating that grass. They're digesting the vitamins and minerals
Yes.
through the grass into their bodies, ultimately flows through the milk. But if you're just baking the milk at this extremely high temperature, you're losing a lot of the benefits that you gained in the beginning of the process.
Exactly.
Okay.
You're basically killing it because it's heated to high temperatures.
Okay. So we're going to look for that low temp pasteurized. If we're building our perfect milk, going back to that, we've got grass fed, we've got
Whole milk.
whole milk.
It's fine. Just
I'm
keep
moving
going.
on. We've got whole milk.
Yeah.
And then we've got low temperature pasteurized.
Yes.
Okay.
And I believe, quick note on that. Another name for low temperature pasteurized is VAT pasteurized.
Okay.
VAT stands for something. Can't say I know it off the top of my head.
Okay. So if you see that on the label, that's the same thing.
Same thing as low temperature pasteurized.
Okay.
And as far as I know, I've only seen 2 brands that are low temperature pasteurized. One of them being Kalana Supernatural.
Okay.
I know that's available in a lot of Whole Foods. I don't think anywhere on the East Coast because I have not seen it. But it is available in Sprouts as well. So
Okay.
just to throw that out there.
Uh-huh.
And then I know Alexander Farms also makes a low temperature pasteurized grass-fed whole milk.
Wow.
Can't say I know where that is
Okay.
in terms of location in the United States,
Yep.
but those are the 2 brands I know of that I feel comfortable recommending, and they're great brands. I trust them.
So with the low temperature, then, since it doesn't extend the shelf life, will you always find a low temperature pasteurized milk in the refrigerator?
Yes.
Okay.
It's always going to be in the fridge, and the expiration date is going to be much sooner
Okay.
than the pasteurized ones.
Yep. So,
So,
got to consume it quick.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I like it. So anything else on temperature?
I mean, not really. I was when I was doing research for this episode, I was trying to find the difference between pasteurized and ultra pasteurized, the
Yeah.
nutritional difference. I couldn't find a whole lot, to be honest. I think they're kind of similar in terms of what's destroyed
Yeah.
when they're pasteurized. So I think those are comparable, I'd say.
Okay. So
Yeah.
not a huge difference. If you see those two, just try and find that organic whole milk or grass-fed whole milk if you can get that.
Yes.
Okay. So then moving on a little bit to homogenization of milk. So we've got homogenized and then we've got non-homogenized. What are those words and what do we look for?
Yeah. So homogenized, and 99% of milk out there is homogenized, and it'll say that on the package too.
Okay.
Normally it'll say pasteurized and homogenized. If you've ever seen that term before. But homogenized, what that means is basically it breaks up the fat into small particles so it's evenly distributed throughout the milk.
Okay.
So if you get a gallon of low temperature pasteurized non-homogenized milk, then it's going to have a layer of cream on top. It'll rise to the top because it's non-homogenized. So basically what homogenized do is it takes that fat, like I said, breaks it into small particles and evenly distributes it throughout the milk.
Yeah. Is that a good thing?
No, it is not a good thing. So when you do that, so there are, I read that there are over 400 fatty acids in raw milk, and when you homogenize them, you destroy them. So we want non-homogenized. Unfortunately, it is difficult to find.
Yep.
Non-homogenized.
So we want the one with the cream layer at the top.
Yes.
Okay. And then have you bought those before?
Yeah.
And what do? Do you shake it?
Yeah. Normally, you
Okay.
just shake it
Okay.
before you pour it.
Uh-huh. And it doesn't feel chunky or anything like that.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Some people even just like either take the cream off and like save it, or just eat the cream by itself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's really delicious.
Very cool. Okay. Did not know about that. So we're looking for the non-homogenized one.
Yes. But as I mentioned, it's very
Tough to find.
difficult.
Okay.
Very difficult to find. Yeah.
Okay. So then this seems to be a newer topic, at least newer to me, is this idea of A1 versus A2 milk.
Yes.
So we're doing a little bit of research on it, but just give me a little bit of background on what these two letters and number combinations mean.
Yeah. So honestly, this was something I had to do a lot of research on a few months ago because I kept seeing different types of A2 milk pop up, and I was like, "What is this A2 milk, and how is this different from regular milk?" And what I learned was that thousands of years ago, 5 to 10,000 years ago, there was this genetic mutation that happened in cattle. So it used to be where most cows produced A2 milk, and A2 is just it's the type of protein that's found in milk. So most cows were A2 milk, but thousands of years ago, there was this genetic mutation. No one really knows exactly what happened, but there was this switch from A2 milk to A1 and A2 milk.
Yep.
So your average milk now contains A1 beta casein protein and A2 beta casein protein, where it used to be just A2.
Okay.
So that's kind of how it happened. Most milks at the grocery store, if it doesn't specifically say A2, it's A1 and A2. It has both of them in there.
Yeah, it's like this A1/A2.
Exactly.
Is the common one. Okay.
Yes.
So the general baseline assumption is it's A1. Okay.
Unless it says A2, it's A1.
Okay.
That's a fact.
Okay. Is that because it's just more common? Why are there more A1s?
Yes, I'd say it's more common. So the A2 milk comes from an entirely different type of cow.
Okay.
And I know Jersey cow is one of the cows that only produces this A2 milk. There's a few other breeds.
Yeah. That produce the A2 milk.
Correct.
Okay. And then what's the difference between these two?
Yeah. So like I said, it's the type of protein found in the milk.
Mhm.
The problem with A1 milk is that there's been multiple studies on this, but the A1 beta casein found in your average cow's milk, appears to be more inflammatory to the gut
Mm.
when compared to A2 beta casein.
Okay.
And just a note, breast milk, human milk, it is A2 beta casein. It doesn't contain
Naturally
any
too.
of this A1.
Okay.
So that might be one of the reasons why this A1 protein is more inflammatory, because our bodies don't know what it is. It's almost
Yeah.
like a foreign protein.
Yeah. We're not built to digest it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, and that brings me to other types of milk like goat's milk, sheep's milk, buffalo milk. Can't say I've ever had that.
No.
Camel milk. That's another one.
No, I've not heard that one.
Yeah, camel milk. I don't think I want to try that. But all those types of milk are those animals only produce A2 milk.
Huh. So it's really the cows that are most commonly producing this A1 protein.
Yeah, as far as I know, they're the
Yeah.
only animal, I guess, that does produce this
Yeah.
A1 protein.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So A1 is common, but not the best for us. So
Yes.
we're looking for A2 because it's easier for our bodies to digest.
Easier to digest. Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Does this have anything to do with lactose intolerance, people?
So it's funny you asked that.
Uh-huh.
So about 9 months ago, I went to something called Expo East,
Okay.
which was basically it's this food conference in Philadelphia. And I was talking to a bunch of different all these healthy brands are there. And I was talking to a bunch of different ones there. And Alexander Farms, which we were talking about off camera before the podcast started, I was talking to them and they were telling me that most people that are lactose intolerant, that think they're lactose intolerant, are actually just sensitive to this A1 protein
Wow.
found in cow's milk.
Uh-huh.
And I forget the exact percentage. I'm gonna guess here, but I think it's like, could it be 80% of people are lactose intolerant? 70.
Funny you
to
say that.
80?
It's one of our trivia questions.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, so don't give it
So
away.
we'll
Don't
tease
give it
it,
away.
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna guess.
Kyle's gonna
and
guess now.
say 75% of people
Okay.
in the U.S.,
Okay.
not the world, the U.S. are lactose intolerant. Again, we'll get back to the correct answer at the end of the podcast, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But she, the woman that I was talking to at Alexander Farms, she told me that it's more of like 10 to 15%, or maybe even lower. I want to say it was actually single digits.
Yeah.
That are actually lactose intolerant.
They're just intolerant to A1.
A1.
Wow.
A1 beta casein.
And most people have no idea, I'm sure.
Yeah. And that's why, and that brings a lot of people that think they're lactose intolerant, they do fine with goat's milk, sheep's milk, or other types of milk because it's A2 protein.
Yep.
But those other types of milk, they still contain lactose.
Yeah.
They do contain, I think it's about 25% less lactose
Yep.
than cow's milk, but they still contain lactose.
Yeah.
So why are people digesting that fine, but they can't do cow's milk?
Yep.
My answer to that question is I think it's because of the A1 protein.
Yeah, exactly. And A2 is probably harder to find. It's a lot more limited.
Yes.
Okay.
And yeah, I'd say part of the reason for that is it's more expensive to produce as well.
Yep.
So there's just less farmers doing that.
Yep. It sounds like there's less cow breeds that produce this A2 milk.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Wow. So A2, if you're lactose intolerant and you have not tried A2 milk, try it and let us know.
Safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
In small amounts.
Very small amounts.
Try it safely.
Do not hurt yourself.
Yeah. But I did post an Instagram reel about this months ago, explaining kind of what we just talked about and how most people that think they're lactose intolerant aren't really lactose intolerant. And I had hundreds of people messaging me saying, "Oh my gosh, I can consume milk again.
Wow.
I tried A2 and I'm digesting it fine."
Yep. No
So,
issues.
I think that's it.
That's crazy. Like a little miracle.
Yeah. Isn't it? It is crazy.
It is. Yeah. No one's ever talked to me about that.
Yeah.
Do you ever have issues digesting milk?
No, I don't.
No, okay.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
I actually had Kristen, who's actually here right now. She likes the Maple Hill 100% grass-fed whole milk, and that's not A2, but she keeps it in my fridge. And I was like, you know what? As I was doing research for this, I was like, let me try. I've had it before, but I was like, let me try this.
Yeah.
And I have no issues consuming it.
Okay.
So I guess I'm not as sensitive to A1 protein.
Yeah.
As some other people.
Okay. Interesting. So we've talked a lot about these different factors that can play into how milk is made. But there's a holy grail of milk that you've teased me with a
Yes,
couple times.
there is.
And it's raw milk.
Raw milk.
Talk to me about raw milk.
Okay, first let's go. Can we put the puzzles of what
let's
we've done
build
so
what we
far?
got. Okay.
Okay. So first we talked about grass-fed versus organic versus conventional.
Yep.
We choose grass-fed.
Yep.
Then we talked about whole milk versus 2% versus skim milk. We want whole milk.
Okay.
Then we talked about homogenized or pasteurization.
Yep.
We want low temp pasteurized, raw ideal, which we're about to talk about.
Okay.
And then we talked about homogenized versus non-homogenized.
Yep.
And we'll put this all in the notes. I know this is a lot of information.
Put together a little graphic for you.
Yeah. Homogenized versus non-homogenized. Ideally, we want non-homogenized. A1 versus A2. Ideally, we want A2.
Yep.
Okay, so that's where we're at right
That's a lot
now.
of
That's a quick recap.
Okay.
And now we're gonna get into raw milk.
All right. Talk to me about raw milk.
So as we know, there are a lot of vitamins and minerals in milk. And through that pasteurization process that we talked about, a lot of these different things get destroyed or altered.
Okay.
So within raw milk, the vitamins, minerals, enzymes, proteins, sugars, and fat are all 100% present and bioavailable, meaning we absorb them easier. Whereas when they go through this pasteurization process, a lot of these vitamins, minerals, enzymes, beneficial bacteria are either killed or at least a percentage of them are killed or altered.
Yep.
And I'll give you an example in just enzymes, for example. There's a lot of enzymes in milk. One of those enzymes is lactase, which allows us to digest lactose.
Okay.
When you get raw milk, lactase is there, but when you pasteurize it, there's actually fewer than 10% of the enzymes in there are still there, which can inhibit us from digesting certain nutrients.
The lactase inhibits the lack of lactase.
No, just sorry. The lactase will inhibit us from digesting lactose.
Okay.
But there's also a lot of other enzymes in there in general
Okay.
that inhibit us from digesting a lot of the vitamins and minerals that are there.
Got it.
So raw milk,
Yeah.
it has so much.
Has everything.
And when you pasteurize it, even low temp pasteurize, it still kills a lot of these things.
Yeah.
Still keeps a lot of the beneficial bacteria and enzymes and vitamins and minerals, but it is killing it at some degree.
Okay. And when you say raw milk, do you mean like udder to glass?
Pretty close.
Pretty close to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's the term raw, and we talked about this when we talked about honey too in one of the first podcast episodes, but raw basically just means unpasteurized.
Okay.
So it doesn't go through any heating process. I think really the only step from cow, it goes from cow to some sort of filter, filters it through, and then you have the raw milk.
Okay.
That's basically it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever milked a cow?
No, I've not.
No.
Have you?
I have milked a cow.
Really?
Yeah.
Where?
At the state fair.
Oh.
Milked a cow. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It was quite the process.
Oh, I should do that.
But you see the milk obviously right there, and so when you're saying raw milk, that's what I have in my head every time you're saying that. So I guess there's some sort of filter, but it's
basically it.
close.
I don't think it's
no.
It's not a heavy duty filter.
No.
At least that I know of.
Okay.
But a lot of people are scared of raw milk.
Yes.
And I think the main point here is that if you can get raw milk from a grass-fed cow that is sustainably sourced, the farmer is, doing everything to keep that environment sanitary and safe, I don't think there's really any risk to consuming raw milk.
Yeah.
And I've had raw milk from 3 or 4 different places before, farms, and I mean I've never gotten sick.
When you have that raw milk, does it taste different?
I mean, very similar to regular milk.
Yeah.
I'd say it maybe tastes a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's
Not
that different. No.
Interesting.
I don't think most people would know the difference between
No.
raw milk and pasteurized milk.
Yeah. Be curious to do a blind taste test.
Yeah. I know. I wanted to get raw milk for this podcast so we could do a taste test at the end, but I couldn't get it in time.
Yeah. That was going to be my next question. Where can people find raw milk?
So if you go to realmilk.com, you can actually it'll show you where you can get raw milk near you. And I think like 43 of the 50 states, you can find a farm near you, or you can get it shipped to you somewhere.
Yep.
There's only a handful of states that actually it's legal to sell in stores.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to say like 7 states.
Jeez.
So
not many.
Most you will not find raw milk at most grocery stores. Yeah.
So you got to go out of your way to get it.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's more expensive, but in my opinion, if you can get your hands on it, it's worth it.
Yep, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
There are just so many benefits to it.
So many benefits.
Wow.
Yeah.
Raw milk. I've not had it before, but now I want it.
We're gonna have to get it.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to get it, and we'll do a taste test.
Okay.
So
we've built our perfect milk, but above that perfect milk is raw milk.
Raw milk.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Raw milk.
number
I
one.
think raw milk trumps everything that we basically just talked about.
Yeah.
Because if you're getting raw milk, most likely it's 100% grass fed.
Yeah.
And that's like that farmer is already doing a really good job.
Yeah.
So it's already going to be very high quality.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, that's a ton on dairy
Yes.
milk. A ton.
Yes.
A lot of information. So we tried to break it down as easily as possible. But if you have more questions on dairy milk, definitely let us know. We'll try to answer those in the comments or on other episodes.
Yes.
But kind of on this trend of milk, it seems like more and more people are at least aware of their intolerance to what they think is lactose, maybe A2.
A1.
So A1. A2 is what could be helpful there.
Yes.
And because of that, this trend of plant-based milks has popped up over the last probably 10 years now. It's become extremely popular.
Mm-hmm.
Almond milks, soy milks, oat milks. There's a lot of those. There's a lot there to break down. So let's just start with maybe some ingredients that you want to avoid in those types of milks. And maybe even is that considered milk in your opinion?
I don't really think it's considered milk.
No.
You're not. I mean, you're literally just taking an almond or an oat and mixing it with water.
Yeah.
I think to compare cows or any type of milk, to compare dairy milk to these plant-based milks in terms of its nutritional profile, they can't really be compared.
Not even close.
No.
It's almost like, is almond juice a more accurate
Yeah,
term?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that doesn't sound as cool.
No, it doesn't.
So,
Yeah.
So going back to your question, there's really 3 main ingredients I recommend avoiding in these plant-based milks.
Okay.
It is the vegetable oils.
Yep.
Your canola oil, sunflower oil, rapeseed oil, which is found in Oatly.
Yeah.
We'll talk about why I'm not a fan of Oatly at all.
Yep.
In fact, that's probably one of the worst milks out there. A lot of these gums and emulsifiers in them: gellan gum, xanthan gum, carrageenan, and then added sugar. So those are the 3 main things. And those are 3 things that I do recommend avoiding in any product for that matter.
Yeah.
But they're very, very common in these plant-based milks.
Absolutely. And so you said one word there that I want to drill down on: emulsifiers.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So gums and emulsifiers, they basically they put these in these plant-based milks to prevent anything from separating and basically give it a creamier consistency, more similar to milk.
Okay.
But the problem is they're not very good for our guts. And there's
Yeah.
studies that show that basically all of these gums have some sort of negative impact on our gut bacteria.
So very artificial. That
Yes.
We're not meant to digest.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. So then that's all of the things that we should avoid in these plant-based milks. Are there things that we should look for in the plant-based ones?
Yeah, there are definitely many good plant-based milks out there. And for the most part, it's just going to be nuts, water, and maybe sea salt.
Okay.
That's all you should really
Yeah.
see.
And at its core, those 3 ingredients are good for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, they are. But that also reminds me, like, a lot of these plant-based milks, they're mostly just water.
Yeah.
There's such a small percentage of them. So there's such a small percentage of almonds or oats or hemp seeds or whatever the plant is. There's such a small percentage of that in there. So it's mostly just water.
It's mostly water.
Yeah. And
Water and sugar?
for some of the brands, yeah, it's basically just water, sugar, vegetable oils, and emulsifiers.
Yeah. Think about that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That
Yeah.
has nothing to do with milk.
With a handful of almonds.
Yeah.
And then they get to call it almond milk.
Yeah.
And then to even take it one step further, they put all of these synthetic vitamins in there.
Yeah.
Like vitamin D, calcium, vitamin B12. to mimic the nutritional profile of cow's milk.
Yeah.
So again, a lot of people look on the nutritional label and they see, oh, it's got vitamin D, it's got vitamin A, it's got vitamin B, it's got calcium. I'm just going to drink this instead of cow's milk. When in reality, these are such low quality synthetic forms of vitamins that is our body even absorbing them?
Yeah, that's a great point.
Know. And then it has all these emulsifiers and added sugar and vegetable oils to go along with it.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah, the benefit's just not there.
No.
I think I was, when I was reading, I think in like a normal gallon of almond milk, there's maybe like 10 almonds
Really?
that are used to make that full gallon.
Yeah.
There's hardly anything.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those are all crushed down, and you're really not even maybe getting the benefits of those almonds.
Yeah.
In that almond milk.
Yeah.
Because they're coated in other chemicals.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you were going to try a plant-based milk, say you're someone that is lactose intolerant, you've tried A2 for whatever reason, it just didn't work, sit well, didn't work for you.
Yeah.
But you want to have some form of milk. What should that person look for?
Yeah. First off, I would say it is worth trying raw milk as well.
Okay.
Because some people can't digest A2 like there a whole different sensitivity is just the pasteurization process in general. So some people that can't consume A2 pasteurized milk, they may be able to consume raw milk because it has all of those enzymes and different things which allows you to break it down easier.
Huh.
So first I would say try to find raw milk if you can.
Yep.
My favorite plant-based milk, my personal favorite plant-based milk is coconut milk. But it's not the coconut milk found in the cartons that a lot of people find in the fridge section. It's actually canned coconut milk because this normally just has coconuts and water, and that's it.
Yep. What's the difference between coconut milk and coconut water?
Coconut. Oh man. I actually don't even. Oh yes, I do know the difference. Yeah. So, coconut water is just. If you open up a coconut, there's water in there, and that's the coconut water. Simple as that. Coconut milk is made by taking the coconut meat, which is basically, so you have the coconut, and then inside the coconut, it's like a thin layer of white meat.
Yeah.
You've seen that before?
Yeah.
So coconut milk is made by taking that and combining it with water.
Oh, wow.
And that's how coconut milk is made.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's my favorite.
Yeah.
It would be coconut milk.
Mm-hmm. And then, so coconut milk is the go-to. But if there's one where it's just like, I gotta stay away from this. What's the one plant-based milk that's a no-go?
Yeah, it's probably the one that's most popular, which is oat milk.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially Oatly.
Why?
I hate
why
to
Oatly?
attack a brand.
Yeah.
But a couple of different reasons. Non-organic oats that have been sprayed with the herbicide known as glyphosate. Have you ever heard of glyphosate?
Only because of you.
Oh, okay. We'll do a whole nother podcast episode on glyphosate, but it's a very common herbicide used, and it is not a good thing. So the World Health Organization actually classifies glyphosate as a carcinogen, and it wreaks havoc on our gut.
Yeah. Is this common in all oats, or is it just oat milk?
Oh no, all oats.
Okay.
All oats. So that's part of the reason why I always recommend going for organic oats.
Okay.
Because organic oats are not sprayed with glyphosate.
Got it.
The very popular herbicide.
Yep.
So why do I not like oat milk, Oatly in general? Non-organic oats. It has rapeseed oil, which is basically another name for canola oil.
Mm-hmm.
It has these gums and emulsifiers.
Yeah.
I actually don't think it has added sugar. In certain, I could be wrong in terms of I'm sure they have an unsweetened one versus a different one. And then it has all those synthetic vitamins and minerals that make you think you're getting something equivalent to dairy milk when in reality you're not.
Yep. It sounds like they're trying to make a milk in a lab, and they're combining all these chemicals that our body's just not meant to digest.
Yes.
And that's the output of that is oat milk.
Yeah. And specifically if you're someone that is insulin resistant or has hormone problems or struggles with weight loss, I think oat milk is definitely the worst option.
Yeah.
You do not want to be consuming this, especially consuming, I know a lot of people like to put oat milk in their coffee.
Yeah.
But consuming oat milk first thing in the morning on an empty stomach is going to cause a rapid rise in your blood sugar. And ultimately, it's just going to leave you feeling more hungry after and throughout the day.
Yeah. It goes back to that satiation that we talked about earlier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's you look at oat milk, it's mostly just carbs. It's liquid carbs,
Mhm.
and those carbs get turned into sugar when we consume them. So there's not a lot of fat or protein in oats.
Yeah.
And the first thing we want to consume when we wake up to satiate us is protein and fat.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what we want. We want to hit it with that. So if you're having that oat milk in the morning, Kyle said it's going to spike your blood sugar, which is just going to make you want more and more food. So if you're someone that is maybe struggling with weight loss, or you have a lot of belly fat that you're trying to get rid of, and you think you're helping yourself by having an oat milk, you're doing the exact opposite.
Yes.
Okay.
You are. Yeah. So if you do want to avoid the dairy and you want something else to put in your milk, again, I'd say coconut milk is your best option. Even something like almond milk.
Okay. That'd be better.
Yes, than oat milk.
And what about soy milk?
I'm not a big fan of soy in general. Two main reasons. One, a lot of it is non-organic. So again, it's sprayed with those different pesticides and herbicides.
Yeah.
Corn and soy are like two of the most heavily produced crops in the U.S. And they're just so incredibly cheap to make. And they have a lot of anti-nutrients in them that prevents us from absorbing certain things in them. So I'm not a big fan of soy milk.
So try and stay away.
Yeah.
I think that came to the same conclusions there doing some research. It's very cheap to make and doesn't have nutritional benefit.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we're going to rank plant-based, we're going to start with coconut and then walk me through the rest.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'd put coconut milk first. I put oat milk last, and then somewhere in the middle, I'd say the rest of them are in there.
Yeah.
Almond milk, hemp milk. I mean, soy milk, rice milk. I can't say I'm really a big fan of those.
Yeah. I found that pea milk and rice milk very high
Pea
in
milk.
heavy metals.
Oh yeah,
and just stay away from those too. Was what I saw.
Yeah, rice is very high in arsenic.
Yep.
And then pea protein. Like
Okay.
I know a lot of people like pea. A lot of people have plant-based pea protein, but that's a big problem. They're very high in heavy metals.
Okay.
So side note, if you are looking at a plant-based protein, try to get one that tests for heavy metals. A lot of companies are doing that now.
Will they put it on the carton, or will you have to research that outside?
I think some will put it on.
They will.
Yeah, I know the protein powder that I take and recommend, Flav City.
Yeah.
It's primarily whey-based, but he does add a little bit of pea protein in there for just some extra protein, and he does third-party test, and that says it on the package.
Okay.
So either check the package or the website or reach out to them.
Yeah.
If you can, see that.
Got it. Okay. So we've broken down dairy and plant-based separately, but let's combine them. If you were going to rank these, or just talk about which one's healthier, where does like a coconut milk, which is relatively healthy for a plant-based milk, fall in terms of dairy milk?
Oh, I'd say you really can't even compare dairy milk to any of these.
It's completely
different
separate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even coconut milk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in your opinion, dairy is far superior than any of the plant-based.
Yes.
Even like a non-organic skim milk, would you prefer that over a coconut milk?
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a tough
Yeah.
Non-organic skim milk. Yeah, I don't know. I'd say yes. If you can tolerate it, fine.
Yeah.
Then I'd probably say yeah.
Yeah. So then that sounds like almost every dairy milk is better.
Nutritionally speaking, yes. I don't think that these plant-based milks are necessarily bad, but I don't want people drinking them thinking they're getting the same nutrients that are found in cow's milk, or any other dairy milk for that matter.
Yeah.
If you want to, use these plant-based milks in your coffee or your cereal or whatever you use milk for, sure, fine. That's absolutely fine. But just know you're not getting those nutrients that are found in dairy milk.
Yeah.
So in preparation for this podcast, I actually went to, I think it's Chronometer or something. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I
Online,
haven't.
it's like where you type in. It's like if you want to keep track of your calories or carbs or fat or whatever. It's just one of those things to keep track of.
Yeah.
And I typed in raw milk because I wanted to see the nutrients and the breakdown of everything that was in milk versus plant-based milk. So, and if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll pop the graphic of what this is. But for those listening, raw milk, and according to this website, pasteurized milk has similar amount of nutrients. Now, again, how much are you absorbing?
Yeah.
We don't necessarily know. But raw milk will give you 70% of your vitamin B2.
Okay.
25% of vitamin B3, 113%, or sorry, and this is a 16-ounce glass of raw milk. 113% of vitamin B12.
Wow.
And again, these B vitamins are very important for so many different things. One of them definitely being energy within our body, giving us energy. 16% of our daily value of folate. This is daily value. 26% daily value of vitamin A. 47% daily value of calcium. 57% daily value phosphorus. It's even got 11% of our daily value of magnesium, and then many other things like potassium, selenium, and zinc. So it contains a lot of vitamins and minerals in one 16-ounce glass of raw milk. And again, this is a very bioavailable form, so our bodies know what to do with it. It's gonna absorb it.
Yeah.
Anything there?
Well, I was gonna say that part's huge because that's not something that I really considered is what your body can absorb.
Yeah.
If you see something on the label, you just assume, oh, that's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
But this bioavailability that you've mentioned a few times now, and the enzymes that are in the dairy milk or lack thereof in the plant-based milk plays a huge role. Something that I did not consider.
Yes. That kind of reminds me too, like another point there. Okay, raw milk contains 11% daily value of magnesium. How much of that are you going to absorb? A lot of it.
Yeah.
Say you look on any nuts or seeds. Say, one serving of it also contains 11% of your daily value of magnesium. How much of that are you consuming? I'm going to tell you right now, not as much as an animal based food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So we'll do that's a whole nother thing, but that's something that's been very interesting to me recently is looking at the bioavailability of these different foods.
Yeah, that is fascinating.
Okay, so that is raw milk. So now I'm going to, for those again watching on YouTube, I'll flash the graphic of almond milk, and I'll show you. Show this to Kevin. I'll show you.
Words are hard.
I'll show you Kevin as well. But so I pulled up one of my favorite brands of almond milk that just has almonds, water, and sea salt in it. And it basically has no nutrients at all.
Wow.
So it has 6% of calcium. Again, raw milk had about half. It was 50% of your daily value of calcium. It has 5% daily value of potassium, and it's got some sodium in there.
Wow.
So,
because I think a lot of times, at least when we were younger, I would think milk makes bones grow stronger. That's what I remember thinking.
Because the calcium.
Because of the calcium.
Yes.
Okay. And so you said, what was the percent of your daily calcium value in raw milk?
47% for a 16-ounce glass.
And then compare that to almond milk?
6%.
Wow.
And again, how much of that are we absorbing?
Right. So it's probably not even 6.
Of the 6%. Yeah. So look at that here. That is the nutritional profile of almond milk.
Oh,
and then if you scroll back,
Yep.
then that's raw milk.
Wow.
So you see that difference?
That's huge.
Yeah. So this is exactly why I said you can't really compare the two in terms of its nutritional profile.
Yep. Just a different category of food.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that's one thing that we were talking about is that you can use the plant-based in some of your diet.
Yeah.
As long as you're supplementing it maybe with some other vitamins and minerals. But we understand that the grass-fed organic whole milk can be a bit more expensive. So maybe you want to find areas to use the plant-based in certain places.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's okay. All right. So that's a lot there on basically the differences between the two. But the takeaway is if you can get it, one is that raw milk is the best. But even the dairy milk comes out ahead in almost every category compared to plant-based.
Yes.
Okay.
Nutritionally speaking.
Yep. And then one other item that I want to touch on that's popular, probably especially in kids, is chocolate milk. So what do you see in a lot of the chocolate milks that you'll find in a store?
I mean, most of them are just loaded with sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what can a parent do if their kid, or even if a parent wants chocolate milk? What's the best thing that they can do?
Yeah, I would say just take one of these milks that we've talked about. You know, if you can get organic grass-fed milk, whole milk, and just add cocoa powder, cacao powder, either one, and then add your own sweetener like maple syrup or raw honey.
Perfect. Yep.
Even something like if you want to go lower sugar or lower carb, even something like monk fruit or stevia or erythritol.
Yep. Okay. So if you can DIY your own chocolate milk, that's gonna end
Yeah.
up better. Yep.
That'd be it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd
Good-
say yeah.
good takeaway there.
Avoid the chocolate milks.
Got it.
Trivia.
Okay. So that's the what?
Trivia.
Yeah. So let's jump into trivia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woo.
Cue the Wheel of Fortune sound or whatever.
Yeah.
Price is Right. I
Yep.
don't know. One of those.
Jeopardy. Something.
Yeah. Jeopardy.
Okay. So we've got 8 questions here.
Okay.
Some trivia. Some of them we actually talked about. But some of them I think you'll find a little bit fun.
Okay.
So first, what is the primary sugar found in milk?
Lactose.
Lactose. We're starting to lay up there.
Yes.
Okay.
Ding.
Ding. That's right. Lactose is the sugar that is found in milk, in dairy milk.
That's the only
The only
sugar, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Just making sure that,
Yep.
that there wasn't something else.
Yeah. Which country is the largest producer of cow's milk in the world?
Which country?
Yeah.
What is California?
Country.
United States seems too easy. I'll go United States.
It is United States.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So this, I think we were talking about this before, but the U.S. is definitely the largest consumer of dairy milk and producer. Okay. What is the approximate composition of cow's milk in terms of water? So what % of cow's milk is actually just water?
Mm.
And I don't know if this is grass-fed or organic or...
Yeah. I'd say it's probably similar. Well, I'd say the real difference would come when it's whole milk versus skim milk.
Yeah.
I would think. I don't know. Because it filters out the fat, and then there's maybe more liquid, aka water. I'd say the average milk contains 33% water.
87% water.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Was not expecting
It's
that.
mostly water.
Wow.
Obviously, there's a lot of good in there too, but a lot of it is water.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have guessed that.
No, that's a high number.
That is.
Yeah. Okay. This one's fun. The national drink of Scotland is actually made with milk, and it's combined with another form of beverage.
Is it an alcoholic
It is
drink?
an alcoholic
Yeah.
drink. Have you heard of it?
I feel like I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what the other drink that you combine
That you
hot
combine
milk with is?
milk with. Is it whiskey?
It is whiskey.
Oh, let's
Let's
go.
go. Scotch whiskey. Fun fact, you know the name of it?
No.
Hot toddy.
Hot toddy.
I thought that was just cool.
What is toddy?
I don't know.
Oh,
Hot
okay.
toddy.
Hot toddy.
It's Scotch whiskey and hot milk.
Can't say I want to try that.
Nope, doesn't sound too appetizing. Okay, this one, fun. Which mammal's milk is closest in composition to human milk? Spoiler alert, it's not dairy. Or it's not cow milk.
Yeah. Not cow milk, because cow milk contains A1 protein.
That's
so I'd say it's one of the other ones that contains A2 protein,
Mhm.
which gives us sheep, goat, camel, buffalo. Those are the only ones I know off the top of my head. I'm going to go goat milk.
Good guess. Dolphin milk.
Didn't know dolphins made milk.
Me neither.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right, that is the closest to human milk.
Aren't we like closest? Aren't we?
Very similar to dolphins. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, in terms of our genes?
I don't
Not our
know.
genes.
Yeah, it's out of my
Yeah.
scope.
Okay. No, that's chimpanzees I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
We're closest to them in terms of our genes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So dolphin milk.
Dolphin milk. I haven't seen that at grocery stores
No,
yet.
I can't imagine that's easy to get. How many gallons of milk does the average cow produce per day?
The average amount of milk per day. I'm gonna say 6 gallons.
Wow, great guess. 6.3 gallons.
Wow, let's
That's
go.
huge.
Let's go.
That is
Wow.
impressive. 6.3 gallons a day.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good guess. What was the logic there?
I was at first my mind went to 12,
Mm.
and then I pictured 12 gallons of milk, and I
Yeah.
was like, that kind of seems like a lot. Let's cut it in half. 6.
6.
That was my
Beautiful.
That was my
Well
thinking.
done.
Thank you.
Beautiful thinking. A peek inside the mind.
Yeah.
All right. And then kind of going off of that, so the United States actually has the highest consumption of milk per person with an average of how many gallons per year? So basically, how many gallons does the average person consume per year?
The average person.
Yeah.
I'd say the average person consumes. Average person. See, I don't consume a lot of milk.
No,
But then I'm sure there's someone out there who consumes milk every day.
I'm sure.
So
Especially in coffee and cereal.
yeah, okay, I didn't think about that.
So
I was just thinking milk on its own.
Yeah.
So let's go with the average person consumes 13 gallons of milk.
13 gallons. Not too far off. It's 20.4 gallons.
Okay, that's a little bit more than I would have thought.
Yeah. So if you're thinking 20.4 gallons, it's less than a gallon a week.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. I was thinking someone that consumes a lot of milk probably consumes a gallon per week.
Yeah, that's a lot. A gallon
That's a
a
lot?
Week. That's 52 gallons.
Yeah,
a
I know.
year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But I'd say someone that drinks milk, that's fair
Probably.
to estimate.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. And then our last question, the one you were all waiting for.
Yes.
What % of the U.S. is lactose intolerant? And this is a range.
That we think is
that we
lactose
think.
intolerant.
Yes.
In the U.S., right?
In the U.S.
78%.
65 to 75%.
Okay.
So
So I was close with my original.
you were. You said 75 first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that is right there, which is, to me, that was a shockingly large number.
That's high. Yeah.
It's more than half.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're in a room with 4 people, 3 of them have some sort of lactose intolerance.
Yeah.
So, wild. So, for those 3 out of 4, try that A2 milk.
Try that A2 milk
Yeah.
and let me know.
Yep. Okay. So, that was our trivia. And then to wrap it up, we're going to power rank our top 4 milks with the
Dairy
dairy
or okay.
Well, all, I guess.
All, okay.
Yeah. With the caveat that if A2 exists for each of these, A2 is better.
Yep.
Okay. So with number 1, we've got organic grass-fed raw milk.
Yes.
That's cream of the crop.
That's the best.
That's
you
the
can get.
best. Okay.
Yes.
Then we're going to go organic grass-fed, low-temp pasteurized.
Yes.
So if you can't get raw, but you can get organic grass-fed, go low temp.
Yes.
Then we're going to go organic grass-fed whole milk.
Yes.
So that's probably most commonly found.
That's what that's what you can find basically at any grocery store. So if that's what you have access to, go for that.
That's a good one.
That's the best option.
Okay. And then if you can't get that grass-fed, organic whole milk.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's going to be it for this episode. If you want to go ahead and subscribe, if you're watching on YouTube, again, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Leave us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts if you're enjoying us. But that is it for episode 4. We will see you next week in episode 5.
Thanks, everyone.
I was waiting for it. Thanks.